I'm here with Gajewski. Grzegorz, is that the right way I call your name?
Hi, Sagar. I think Grzegorz is
Grzegorz
is the best way.
Wow.
So it's quite tricky. Just you can call me Greg or Gaju, whichever is easier to you.
Okay. Gaju, that's how I guess everyone calls you. At least I know Vishy Anand calls you.
Yeah, among the people who know me, yes, that's my nickname.
It's amazing what has just transpired in Toronto. Gukesh has won the candidates, and you have been an extremely important part of this entire journey. How has been your feeling? I saw you at the press conference right after Gukesh won. You were very calm, very cool, collected. Even now, you've been very, very relaxed. But has there been a feeling of joy and amazing feeling?
Obviously, there was a lot of joy, and I'm very happy that we managed to achieve this. And the Gukesh actually won the tournament. Somehow, the people don't express their emotions as freely in chess as they do in other sports, which makes the game even harder, because you can tell that both the joy and the sadness, you can see that actually those players have so much emotions in them. But this is not football. You cannot just scream and run and jump, or maybe you can, but simply this is not how chess players behave. Maybe we should do something about it.
Well, I know that when Gukesh won and you guys were on the street, there was a lot of like you lifted Gukesh up. Is that true?
He's not that heavy.
But that was a moment of amazing feeling, right? When Rajnikant came down and told you guys that there's no tie breaks, Gukesh has won, because you were, I think, mentally getting ready for it.
Yes, we were getting ready mentally for the tie break, because even though we knew nothing could, in theory, we knew, okay, they had to draw this position, it's too dry for any side to win. But you know, there were so many turnarounds in that game that we just didn't want to jinx it. So also, to keep your mind focused, we decided to prepare the worst. And it's always better to assume the worst and be ready than the other way around.
Yes, and this victory opens up a new chapter in Gukesh's career, also in the Indian chess history, because he becomes the second player after Anand to reach the World Championship match. And it's very interesting that you've played a role in both these players' life.
Yes, I'm very happy to play my small role in both of their careers. And I think it's a very good moment to bring up Anand here, because Vishy not only is a role model for all the young players from the new generation, an inspiration for them, but he actually devoted his own time, and he actually worked to make it possible for them to get the best possible tools, the best possible trainers, and whatever they needed to actually make a difference and make it easier for them to advance in their own careers. So, I mean, without Vishy, none of that would have happened. I'm pretty much sure of it. Starting from the very match in Chennai that inspired Gukesh to actually give his best and give it a shot and try to become
he was just 7, I think, at that point.
Yeah, he was so young, and he saw Vishy and he got inspired. And so not only he inspired him, but then he made sure that he had the best possible conditions to progress as a player. So we should all thank Vishy for that.
Yes, this what you mentioned, I've always felt it, and I feel nice that I can actually discuss this point with you, because you are sort of part of both the players' life. I feel like what Vishy has managed to do with Waka, and also just being there and being available to discuss something is a big advantage to these players, and you think that makes a huge impact from a person who has been there and done that. When he interacts, it's different.
Yes.
That's the right answer, actually.
If there's I'm not sure what the question is here.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with everything what you say.
Right. So my question, one of that was that Vishy has worked with you for many years, right? Maybe around 2014 or 2012 was when you began, or I'm not sure. Which year was it?
We officially started co-working in 2014 before the Sochi match. I did my small part in preparations during his match with Gelfand, but that was a very small role where I helped remotely. But from the Sochi match, I officially joined the team, and gradually my role has improved over the years.
And then when I think at some point you were the only second that he had. You were traveling to different tournaments with him, and I'm sure that you gained a lot of experience through this work that you did with him. When did this happen that it was decided that from Vishy now you will switch to Gukesh? And I personally feel it must have been a very tough decision for Vishy personally, because here someone is very close to him, and he's now saying that okay, you can start working with Gukesh. In some ways he's his protege, or you can say a student, but also a competitor, because he's in the top 10 in the world now.
I don't think he sees it like that. I mean, technically we parted the ways with Vishy during the pandemic because there were no events for him to compete in. So in a way there was no sense in keeping me occupied. Simply at that time the work seemed pointless. That was a different case with the young players, of course, because these guys, they actually need to work super hard and they need to do whatever is possible to progress. We have to remember that at this point Vishy was in a very different stage of his career. He's pretty much achieved everything there was to achieve, so it's an entirely different case. So at some point he just offered me to join the Waka team and do some regular classes with all those Indian prodigies. Well, this is how it started.
And then at some point you were doing group sessions, training everyone, but then the focus shifted to just Gukesh. When did that happen?
Well, the focus has shifted gradually, and I still do some group sessions from time to time, not as often as I used to, but we kind of began getting closer last year when he asked me to help him during the Tata Steel Masters. And back then it was just a remote help, but some good things happened during that tournament that helped us to establish trust between us. And then during the WR Masters in Düsseldorf, I also helped him remotely, and he played an outstanding chess there.
Yes.
So he was very close to winning that event. And then we started working closer, not just during the tournaments, but also between the tournaments. And Norway Chess was the first tournament where we came together. It was the first tournament we actually met since he beat me in Moscow 2018.
Oh, what a game that was.
Yes,
you shared it and I looked at it. It was crazy, that game.
Yes, I was not as excited back then, but now I appreciate this...
the king walk.
Yeah, this cute way of young Gukesh saying hi to me. So, yeah, really nice game. And in Norway we actually got to meet each other for the first time since that time. And once again it was a good tournament and a positive experience.
There was a nice photo of both of you, like this holding hands, and before the round I believe you were wishing him.
Yes.
And that's in my head.
We still do the same thing. Although usually after his wins. So after that it was clear that it's just a good thing for both of us, and we like each other, we feel good with each other, so it kind of became natural for me to become his official coach.
A lot of top players have also given you a lot of credit, right from, I've heard Fabi in his C Squared podcast or Hikaru in his streams. He's mentioned that Gukesh's growth from being a good player to an elite player, what was missing was perhaps his opening knowledge, and you bridge that gap rapidly. Would you see it that way?
Obviously, his openings improved during the period that we worked through, but I think it's not just the openings. We try not to focus solemnly on the openings because the openings are not as important as they used to be. the days of mind-blowing novelties that win the games themselves, these days are over. So we have to work with what we get, and quite often we get pretty much nothing. So the whole assumption is to improve his knowledge, but at the same time work on the other areas as well. So he did not feel dependent on the openings at any point of his career. And I think this approach worked here beautifully, because if you look at his games, then the first 3 games of the tournaments, we kept being surprised.
Yes.
He got nothing out of the opening. Against Vidit, he was struggling to equalize with white. He was surprised by Prague with his aggressive approach. But that's okay, because it's not all about the openings. It's also about him feeling confident that he can cope whether the opening worked or not. As for our own ideas, eventually in the subsequent rounds we managed also to give our opponents some nice surprises, to kick them out of their preparation. I think it also helped in the final game against Hikaru, because obviously Hikaru did not plan the game to look the way it looked, but we managed to kick him out of preparation very early, so he was supposed to play all the moves by himself.
This bishop e7, I think, threw him off guard a bit.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. I mean, it's not even about the move itself. Once again, it's not the line that is going to be the #1 line in the top tournaments for the next years for sure, but it's good enough to be played, and it's definitely good enough to surprise your opponent.
This, what you have mentioned, is so deep, because on one hand, the way in which Magnus portrays classical chess, that openings is killing it, and here is a fresh perspective, you saying that openings are not important. It kind of makes my mind spin with confusion.
I think what Magnus meant was mostly that the openings are killing the chess matches, the World Championship matches. Because if you look at the tournaments are not that. The games are super interesting, and the thing is, there are some openings that you don't like. That, yes, some openings basically are close to killing the game, but the young players, the players from the younger generation, not just the Indian players, but also guys like Abdusattorov or Vincent Keimer, they just don't want to play those openings. They don't want to play those boring lines that kill the game. They want to have fun. They also want to win. So the game is changing, and I don't believe that the classical chess is anywhere near getting killed by.
You mentioned about Gukesh having the strength, which is what helps to have this approach, right? That you can go into the games without any deep openings and so on. Like, you can have new ideas and try it out. Is that correct understanding?
We try to go deep, and just like everybody, we want to surprise our opponents and not only make a move that they weren't expecting, but actually know the plans and all the follow-up. But the approach is that we do not fully depend on it. Especially when you move a lot, when you are trying different things, there's always risk that you'll end up in a position that you're not entirely familiar with, and that's okay. So this is the risk that we accept. So this is why sometimes, even with white, he struggles to equalize. This is fine, because he is strong enough to cope with these problems, and also it's much harder for his opponents to get ready, and it takes much more energy to prepare against Gukesh, because they don't really know what to expect.
This happened in the 13th round against Ali Reza.
Yes,
when he played 93, the engines were already showing black as equalized, maybe even on the better side.
It was pretty much the case, just like the game against Vidit. The same happened in the game against Ali Reza. He was just in slightly worse situation, but gradually he was able to improve. This was a small feeling of lack of comfort after the opening, but that was nothing serious, nothing he couldn't handle, and and he pretty much proved that the approach was working.
I have this theory, which I would like to know your thoughts on, that because Gukesh, when he grew up and was not using engines till he became a GM, that has influenced his play deeply, even till date. Would you agree on that, or not really?
Yes. I would say that some of his weaknesses that we are still trying to correct are actually because of that. Because there are simply some certain positions that he doesn't understand in the modern way. There are some moves that were supposed to be bad, but the engine said that they were supposed to be good instead. So basically, the evaluation changed, and not all of those moves Gukesh is aware of. So he keep trying to fill in the holes. But at the same time, his ability to think independently, his ability to calculate, to solve problems by himself, is something that is worth so much more. So this is definitely not a problem for us. Just some small disadvantage that we can easily fix.
In this tournament that happened, which one was your favorite game of Gukesh?
I really liked two games. I liked his game against Vidit.
The second one, right?
Yes, because it was almost perfect.
Yes.
And chess-wise, it was almost perfect. But also there was one nuance. In some of his games, he had time management issues. Obviously, there was this time trouble drama against Alireza in the 7th round. So it was very important for us that he improved his time management in his game with Vidit, because I believe this was the next game after Alireza.
Yes.
And in that game, his time management was pretty much perfect, just like his moves. And there was this one moment in the game where he kind of lost the track, when the engine was suggesting black to swap the queens with queen a3, which was kind of counterintuitive, because you normally don't want to swap the queens in these kinds of position. But the point was that the white queen on d3 was defending so many pawns that it actually made sense to trade it. Gukesh did not make the move, he made some other move. And in two moves, it was clear that he wasn't sure how to proceed. And in exactly the same time, we did a very smart thing. He started playing very quickly.
Yes.
And he just started moving all the pieces in the black's king direction. He doubled on the f line, made some scary moves. Only because Gukesh's time management was that good, he had enough time to calmly realize that there was no danger really, to make the best moves and finish the game quietly. You give him 10 minutes less, and this is a perfect starting position for another drama.
You're right.
So actually, this time management really paid off.
This king f8 move was nice.
Yes, but you need a lot of time, not only to calculate all the lines, but also to remain calm. And this is very important.
Right. So one was Vidit that you liked, and was there anyone
The
else?
other one was his black game against Fabi, simply because it was a very high quality game, and Fabi put a lot of pressure in that game. But if you look at this game right now and you don't analyze it deeply, you're thinking that the game has no history. Because Gukesh defended so well and he basically did any mistakes. So in general, this was one of the highest level games in the tournament.
Which move in that game did you like? I liked the move, knight e7, but Gukesh said that was part of the entire plan. When he played, I guess, d5, he had already seen that he has to go knight e7.
There was no particular move that I liked so much, because, to be honest, there were no beautiful moves in that game.
True.
It was just hard work, hard calculation, and you have to remember that it's a hard work and hard calculation against one of the best calculators in the world, in kind of a position that in theory should suit Fabi. So this was a really huge challenge, because also I believe that Fabi played a very good tournament here. So he was really a real threat to us.
Right, and from the opening perspective, I think there were a few new ideas that were very interesting, especially the h6 move against Nijat.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. And the problem is that the queen c2 in line is very dry. It's possible to play this with white for a win, but it's very hard to play this with black for the win.
Yes.
An additional problem was that all the interesting lines were used by Alireza. And he has already played against Alireza. So not only the d6 line that Alireza played, we knew he was expecting, but also c5 line Alireza played in the past, and the b6 line Alireza played. Alireza played pretty much every interesting line that was out there. So we really had to work hard to come up with something that is both playable and not terribly incorrect. And I think that this knight h7 idea worked beautifully in that context. But you also have to realize how good that game was.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention it, but actually this was also a brilliant game by Gukesh, because some of his moves like b6, b5,
Oh, yes.
eliminating white's
points.
weakness, just to open up, just to give some more space for the black pieces. So this was also a very good game, because we may see that Abasov had a very bad tournament and bad result, but he's still a very strong player, and to win this kind of a position with black is always something nice.
Yes, many times I just sit down and I think that if I was in Gukesh's shoes or your shoes and I'm facing so and so player, what would I choose? And against Abasov, it was really tough, because with white he had not lost a single game.
Yes.
And he was like being so solid. So you guys managed to find something there, was amazing.
Yes, there was a lot of work to be done before the game, and but I was also super impressed with the game itself, because it's not only about making the best moves, but you're making the moves, and every move you have to consider if there is any way for white to kill the game.
Yes.
Not because you're expecting your opponent to kill the game, but because there is this possibility that he might want to kill the game.
True.
So it's not even equal game. It's actually very difficult. And there was at least one moment in the game that Gukesh plainly bluffed. He offered
G5 and FG6, knight G6, right? This moment?
I think when he offered white to take the pawn on H6.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he didn't take first bishop G6, FG6,
Yes,
bishop H6.
G6, FG6, bishop takes H6.
Yes.
He made his A5 pawn look super scary, but actually he knew that that there was nothing, but simply there were no better tries for white.
Actually, I told him after the game, immediately when he came out, that why didn't Abasov take on G6? And he said, yes, I also don't know why he didn't take. So he knew what he was doing.
Yes, of course he knew what he was doing.
Right. And also I thought this last game drama and pressure was a lot, because although Gukesh was in a very nice situation with half a point lead, but to have Hikaru coming at you with white and having a clear understanding that he has to win, there's no half measures, is a scary situation. And at the same time, you have to be looking at the game of Fabi and Nepo, because somewhere that game can also have impact on so what opening to play would not have been an easy decision there.
Opening wise, we didn't really have any problems. We knew what we wanted to do, and the approach was the main thing. I mean, for the entire event, the approach was don't look at the results, don't look at aggregates, don't look at anything, just focus on the game, just make the best move, and don't think about the outcome. If the move is good, then the outcome is going to be good anyway, so why bother? Having said that, it's not that simple when there's this guy playing next to you who wants to win, and it's easy to say in theory, but actually this is one of the situations, and everybody could see Gukesh and glancing over, just looking and checking how was the other game. And at some point I was actually getting nervous, because it seemed like Hikaru may start playing this one for a win. And obviously the position was very simple, but if you lose your focus, you make one or two inaccuracies, then suddenly you may become nervous. And if you go down, with time, Hikaru is the last person on the planet you want to find yourself in time scrambles against, and any kind of position is possible to. It's possible to lose any kind of position against him. So I was very happy that he managed to put himself over and just concentrate on the game and get the job done. So that was nice. As for the other game, I mean, there was so much drama that everybody saw that. I mean, there is nothing much that we can add. I can only give the credit to the guys, because they also did an outstanding job. And I mean, it's a very tough tournament. Only one person can win, and as long as you don't win that tournament, the better you play, the worse you feel. So. I'm really sorry for them, but I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
Sure. Gukesh has mentioned on many occasions that he not just enjoys working on chess with you, but there are many other aspects that he enjoys with you. Your humor, just spending time with you, the sports that you indulge in, be it pickleball or tennis. So this is a relationship that goes much beyond just chess.
I'm very honored, and I'm very happy that he says that. I'm happy that he appreciates my sense of humor. Not everybody does, but that's okay. And And yeah, we like activity, so this is great that we can spend some nice time together, not just making moves.
And coming to this event, how was the mindset like? Because you have to have training camps, you also have to prepare. At the same time, Gukesh made it very late into the candidates. It was decided towards the end of December. So what was your thought back then, and how did you rate Gukesh's chances? Not that you have to rate, because you have to just work, but like we know Magnus made this tier list, gave Gukesh not great chances. Did that have any impact on you?
Magnus's opinion?
That is one part, but in general, how did you approach this huge challenge? Because at some point it must have been like, okay, 3 months left. Suddenly we have this tournament. In between you have Vaikanze, you have Prague Masters, and everything has to be thought differently.
If you look at Gukesh's games over the past year, when he's in good form and he makes the best moves that he can make, which basically means he remains objective and he doesn't try to be too ambitious, or he's not afraid, that pretty much everything works the way it's supposed to work, it was almost impossible to outplay him from the other players. I think Magnus was pretty much the only one who managed to do it.
At the World Cup.
Yes. If there was anyone, and I think Arjun managed to outplay him slightly last year in some other game.
Sickerman, I think.
Yes, but even there there was some time
crazy game.
There was some time trouble involved. So and also, so for me it's important that this time management was has improved. But with all these things that we assume before the game, that the plan is executed, that it's very hard for anyone to outplay Gukesh, whereas he can outplay pretty much everybody. So I'm not saying that he was a favorite in my eyes, but I knew that if all these things worked once again, we have a shot. We had a shot for winning the tournament, and I think we were both aware of it.
Yes, how do you explain this thing that Gukesh is able to do? Because many times I'm commentating with an engine, and I'm like, many games just go through one trajectory. Like, okay, it's equal, and it's over. But Gukesh's games always have this massive ups and downs many times. Not in this tournament, but many times before. And he's able to bring out this human aspect of play. I think maybe the engines don't really agree with it, but humans do. Like also Maksudlu, for example, last round of Prague Masters.
Yeah. I don't know, when the bar is jumping up and down, it's usually not a good sign. So ideally I would prefer for Gukesh to avoid these kinds of situations, but I'm very happy that he's resourceful, and even if he blunders something or misplays it, then he can still cause problems to his opponents. But we have to keep remembering that the bar, it's not the evaluation of the players' quality. It's just the tool for the spectators.
Also, it's the evaluation of the position.
Yes, it's objective evaluation of the position, but it's not really relevant for the players. I mean, it's helpful, but for instance, there will be some positions where the bar can say +5, but the line is so extremely difficult and complicated, and there is the whole explanation of this line is simply impossible for a human player to comprehend. So we shouldn't look at it this way. You can easily tell this just watching the game of Jan Nepomniachtchi, because just looking at the bar you would think that he had a terrible tournament, but it doesn't matter what he had missed compared with Engine's evaluation. It matters that he sees more than his opponent does. So obviously we are very happy that here Gukesh's play was of really high quality, and there was very little fluctuation in terms of Engine's evaluation. Ideally we want to maintain this, but of course he's a young aggressive player, and also because of his age he still has every right to be unstable, and that's okay.
How important do you think are the words that are told by a second or a trainer after the game? Because also Gukesh mentioned that many times you have the right words for him. And that made me think that actually what is spoken before a game, after the game, just, or maybe something has gone wrong in the game, but how to put it in front of the player. Do you think about these things?
I think by now it's pretty much intuitive from my side. I mean, I know what to tell him, and I know how to tell him. It's basically, you just have to make the communication simple and understandable. So there's no big secret around it.
So in a way, you have to understand that person very well. It's a trainer's role is not just about chess, but knowing that person better.
Yeah, actually that part is very important. And when I used to work with Vishy, I certainly lacked experience in that area. But over the years, I have gained some. So now it's much different. I know which things Gukesh likes, which things he does not like. I know what he feels right about it. So it's easier for us to choose the right strategy for the game.
It's from all that you've mentioned right now, I feel your approach towards working with Vishy would have been so different from your approach working with Gukesh.
I mean, they are entirely different cases because, first of all, they were in a very different moments of their careers.
Yes.
Vishy has achieved pretty much everything, and for instance, when you disagree with something with Vishy, how do you tell him that? How do you tell the 5 times world champion that you think he's wrong, right? So it was very hard for me. Also because I was much younger. So pretty much a different case. And as for Gukesh, I'm much older than he is, so he looks up to me, and he wants me to tell him that this is right and this is wrong, because actually he needs this kind of guidance. So yeah, in this sense, I think we're a good match.
And also, like when you are building this sort of working for a candidates, maybe now the World Championship match, it's very important to build a team. And for now, as Gukesh said, the work is only half done. He cannot reveal his seconds. But for you, as one of the main trainers, there's also this role of managing a team, being kind of the middle person between the team and Gukesh. So that's also a lot, because I know that Peter Heine Nielsen used to do that a lot for Magnus. It's a lot of work of management as well.
Yes, it's a new role for me, and so far it was a lot of fun. And I think it's a very important thing that we have a team that everybody feels good about, and we like each other, and the work is fun. I also think this is very important because training camps can be heavy chess-wise, so it is important to have very good atmosphere, so everybody's happy, and we all want it to be a positive experience and a positive journey in every aspect possible. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Sorry we cannot reveal your names right now, but we are really grateful for all the work that you've been doing for us.
Beautiful. And now the World Championship match, November, it's not too far. Sometimes you have like a year or more, but now it's only 6 months. Also, Gukesh feels very, very energized from what he's saying. He's very much looking forward to this challenge. On the other hand, Ding as a player is world class, has been about 2800, but right now going through a tough phase in his life. How do you look at this match?
It's a bit early for us to say. We haven't really even had any time to seriously discuss the preparations and the plans. But obviously, we are already thinking about it. And Ding Liren is an outstanding player, and we don't really look at his crisis as something permanent. Definitely, we expect him to be ready for the match, and we will also be ready for the match. 6 months is enough time to come up with some good training plans. So we'll do our best to be ready.
And lastly, I want to talk to you about you as a person and learning stuff for you, because I feel this is something that has kept you at the top of where you are. The fact that you are learning and being able to adapt all the time. Can you share what is your philosophy in this sense? Do you also learn a lot from Gukesh, or let's say from the person whom you are training?
Definitely, I learned a lot from Gukesh, and we all learned very quickly that you should actually listen to him. Because despite his age, this is not just outstanding quality of a chess player, but also a very intelligent person who has a very valuable insight. So he listens to me. I listen to him because there is always some nice feedback, and there is always something important and something valuable that we can discuss. So this is great. As for my approach and my learning process as a coach, for me the trickiest part was to adapt to the game changing.
Yes.
Because the game is changing. I cannot be no longer just a theoretician. Because, as we discussed earlier, the openings is not everything, especially these days, and there is so much more in the game, and also the mental side of the game. So I think these things we take very seriously. I take them very seriously. I try to educate myself as much as possible just to stay on a track, and so far it's been working nice.
Beautiful. You just pointed out about Gukesh's maturity as a 17-year-old, and everyone's been talking about it. How is he so mature? How do you think he's so mature? And do you think his long-time trainer Vishnu has played a role here?
I think Vishnu has played an outstanding role in this regard. I mean, not only this regard, because also chess-wise he played an outstanding role. But Gukesh has told me many times that they have been discussing also the mental side of the game, and how to approach specific events, how to approach chess in general, how to approach this whole journey, this whole process of becoming a top player. So, I mean, Vishnu's role here in Gukesh's progress is just invaluable.
Brilliant. Gaju, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I feel that there's so much of positivity, there's so much of willingness for you to give your all to this, and it's making such a huge impact in Gukesh's career, but also in Indian chess, and also, in the world of chess. So we thank you so much for everything that you are doing.
Thank you so much. I mean, Indians are lovely people, so I'm very happy to help you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.